And welcome back to the channel. Today, I kind of like have to beat up on myself. You guys know that I love P-47s, but there is kind of like a black sheep of P-47s that generally everyone kind of agrees is very mediocre. And we're talking about the P-47N variant. Um, you can read the Wikipedia about the design choices made for this variant, but at the end of the day, it's kind of just a very, very mediocre P-47 at a really high battle rating that doesn't feel like it justifies it. Now, that's never stopped me from wanting to try and make it work, and so this video is going to be for those of us that love P-47s and want to try and suffer our way through playing it. Because it is a little bit different than other P-47s, but it's not that different. It's just kind of worse in almost every category for P-47s. And the P-47, I love them. They're not exactly like the uber meta plane anyway. So we're going to struggle through it. I got a couple games here. If you're looking for the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kill games, you're not going to see it in this video. I didn't record any of them, and I would probably have to record for several weeks to try and get some high kill games. And frankly, this one's just not, it's fine. It's just not the most fun that I could have playing War Thunder, and I would rather have fun. So we're going to look at like a couple fights, a couple games, and a couple engagements where I feel like the P-47N does well. So here we go. Let's jump right into it. First game, got an I-185. I'm in a full down tier. I-185 sees P-47 and says, I can kill that. I try and go under him. He doesn't quite take the bait immediately. In this game, you're going to see that Wild Weasel BF-109 because at this point in the game, it's kind of me and him are the only ones left. So this is going to be one of the strategies that you can do with the P-47N, which is pair up with a buddy. You can make it work, actually, with a buddy. So we got two enemies here that we have to handle, and let's see how we go. So the first thing to know is that these are not the only two enemies in the entire match, and that's why I keep looking around, because I know there are a lot of enemies in this match. This I-185, I think, is dragging us over the Spitfire. I see the Spitfire coming up, so I angle away from the Spitfire. Not super close, but close enough to kind of make it interesting. I'm going to drop on him as an energy trap, but I see my 109 already dropping on him. And then I see this J-26 coming up, which, like I said, not sure they weren't displaying, but this guy also energy traps himself, and I take him out of the match. He does get a clip on my wing, but it pretty much does nothing. And now the rest of the red names are showing up. So I don't think the so the Spitfire's still there. The 109 didn't quite knock him out of the match, but I did get the Swedish Mustang. And I'm going to try to provide support for my 109 who's climbing away. And coming across here is the rest of their team. I'm trying to see who makes a good target. I'm prioritizing on what I think is the most dangerous, which is the KI-44. The zeros you can generally get away from. Just don't turn fight with them. So we prioritize the K-44, set him on fire after a bit of probably shooting. Spitfire makes a turn, makes it past me. Throw it back into a climb. Try and spiral climb, trap him. And this time my 109 buddy does clean it. So that's good. Two less planes in the match. And each time, you know, make sure you don't get in a rush here. Make sure... Oh! Another I-185. Dodge. We can actually outturn those, especially with flaps, even in the P-47N. He extends to go after the 109. That's kind of a mistake. I'm coming back around. We are able to leave the majority of the enemies behind us and focus on this 185. My 109 buddy is, I don't want to say throwing it all away here, but he's trying to get this 185 out of the match. And I am trying to maintain my speed in a very shallow climb. I see the 109 go up. I see the 185 energy trapping him, and I think, okay, I can't have him drop on my 109 buddy. So I decided to go up. And this is a risky move. I go full flaps. He seems very slow, so we just full send it. And luckily, I've got quite a bit of experience with US 50 cals and managed to get a lucky pilot snipe even when I'm sitting there like 60 kph, which is incredibly slow. We recover from the stall. We're very vulnerable, both of us right now. And there's another 5 that I now need to dodge. At this point, we've kind of let them get in close. I'm trying to extend. J-22 comes in. Need to extend away from him. I'm actually really surprised at how fast these Swedish 50 cals are. Like, I'm sitting there 1.2 kilometers away, and those things are still moving. He almost tagged me right there. That's insane how fast they're still moving. Don't want to let the 0 catch up. That's bad news. I do pull it around. Want to make sure to support the 109. 109 gets some good hits on the J-22, and I need to chase off the 0. And how to chase off zeros is full commit head-ons. And to sort of fully illustrate my point, I'm going to show the clip where I actually do end up dying to these guys. Basically, we made another pass, and I was extending away from the 0, and the 0 got one Japanese shell on my wing and snapped it off. And I thought I could make it back to the base, but ended up getting caught by the 185. And I just got to show this because it's hilarious. I don't know if you count that in your book, but I'm counting that as yet another kill. Don't get overly greedy when it comes to those kills. Like there was nothing I could do. I was literally just trying to get back to base. You could have made nothing. I thought that was hilarious. So we're gonna jump right into the next match. This is that really, I can't remember the name of it right now, where it's like really high climb right away. You've already seen this fight as a short posted, but when a 225 is on you, get him fast. He's gonna compress, so we throw it in a dive. He's compressing. He can't make that shot now because he literally doesn't have enough pull. We're gonna barrel roll over the top. Now we're behind him because he's compressing and he's fast. And so we followed up here. I thought I had him right here. That would make a better clip. I didn't quite get enough pull myself. So we finished it up right here. Set of fire. And, you know, I don't even know if I was necessary in that death right there. He might not have been able to pull enough to even keep himself from running into the ground, but I'll take the kill. So once we do that, we try and get our altitude back. Not that we had a lot of altitude to begin with, and we see this LA-7 absolutely clean up my Bearcat. So part of me wants to just run back to base. Part of me wants to try and make this fight. Part of me that wants to make it a fight wins out. We're going to use the ridge as cover, or actually he's using it, which is probably smart considering I'm going to push the head on. But we wait on him to go up over the ridge. We do push the head on. We dodge his shots. We get a hit on him. He almost got me right there. But we take it up. Looks like he's going to get a good shot on me, so I go back down. I hear him cut his engine, which is really kind of a confusing strategy here. I think he really didn't need to do that because I can stall pretty good, even in this big old heavy thing. So at this point, I'm just focused on staying behind him and not overshooting. I think maybe he thought I had a lot more speed, but I'm doing a lag pursuit here to make sure that I do actually stay behind him. Just trying to get him to overshoot. Gets really close to those woods, just like the other guy did. Again, focusing on a lag pursuit, and now I think I finally have a shot here, so we're going to try to pull lead. And we get some hits. Maybe that's all it would have taken. It's certainly going to give me the kill, but I think I would have had him right there. The killing the motor, I don't know. Probably not his best strategy. Once I heard it, I focused on lag pursuit, and that worked out for me. Alright, into the next game. I am showing this first kill where the 109 and myself take out the SB2C. I focused on this guy because they're annoying if you don't handle them. This guy, not really one of the annoying ones. I think he was just bombing. But this is an important clip because it shows that this 109 can shoot and is competent, and also shows a little bit of one of the pros and cons that I'm going to talk about here in a second. Take him out. I get the assist, and now we reset the fight, and we see that the KI-44 is way up there. I don't want to try and challenge him yet. Looks like he's probably 5,000 plus meters, and I'm at 4,000 meters, so we're going to try and angle away and grab some altitude while we wait. While we climb, let's talk about some pros and cons. We're going to start with the pros. The N variant is faster inline speed. It has the clipped wings and has better, basically it boils down to energy retention. If you can get the energy in the N and you're not burning it turning, it does have better energy retention in a straight line, and thus sort of a better straight line speed. You kind of get there quicker and you hold on to it longer. You don't bleed off your top speed. I mean, I would say the P-47s in general are good about this, but more so even with the N. And it has 4,000 rounds of ammo, so you have so much ammo that if you use it all up, wow, I hope you had like 7 kills. Let's talk about cons. The wider wings means a bit more of a convergence issue, even more so than even wide wing other props. Like, I've got my convergence set to 400, and you still saw how far apart those shots were on that SB2C. Basically, you're going to have to kind of learn to aim with one wing sometimes, especially if you set your convergence out further than I do. I have all my American 50 cals set to 400 convergence because that's just what I've learned, and I can compensate in long distance shots. We'll get back to the rest of the cons here in a minute. I'm going to take a dive down onto this Yak 9. But ultimately, the 109 calls out for some help, and he looks like he's facing about 5 opponents, so I'm going to go over there and help him out, because I know he's a pretty decent player. He was able to shoot down the SP2C with some authority, so we're going to go help him out because I like this matchup. He's got the energy, I've got the energy, and there's a bunch of them down low, so we're going to see what we can do. While we head that direction, I'm going to try and finish out the rest of the cons. It has more rudder issues, think like a P-51. Not quite as bad as a P-51, more like a Bearcat, but it's noticeable more so than the other P-47s, and has a worse climb rate than the P-47D-38, and blame the fuel load. So coming back here, the 109 took out someone. I am trying to now relieve some pressure off him after his attack run. I only get some hits. Back to that convergence issue we just talked about, maybe. But we go back up, and we're going to basically keep them always pursuing us, but never really catching us. And that is the strategy in all P-47s, this one in particular. You should always keep all your fights in the vertical. If you're turning, you're absolutely wrong. We're going to go up and over. I think about trying to make a dive there, but want to make sure that no one's coming up. We do end up picking, I'm kind of waiting to see where the 109 goes, and this this Zero ends up just stalling himself out below me. Didn't know why I didn't get the kill there. I thought I got plenty of 50 cals in him, but again, I'm helping out this 109, and this 109 shows he can shoot, and even he can't bring down that Zero. Something about the Japanese bias, I'm not sure, but we do eventually get the Zero, and now I am coming back around to protect my 109 from this KI-61. I don't want to quite throw it exactly into a 90-degree vertical. I want to keep some speed here. We slowly come back around. Not sure the KI-61 is paying attention to me. Looks like he's trying to finish off 9, but he has basically bled away all his energy. You notice the convergence issue thing again. But, you know, we set him on fire, knock him out of the match, and we go back up. So now... I wish he hadn't have done that. He took not only one head on there, the Spitfire, but then he turns and takes another head on. He does end up knocking out the KI-100 with himself, but I'm trying to protect him. I know he's on fire, but this is my only shot I'm going to get at that Spitfire probably. So I focus down the Spitfire, and we have deleted that entire group of enemies, and it cost him his plane because he took those head-ons, but otherwise, that was a pretty good little engagement, and we knocked them all out of the match. We're going to go on to the next match, but let me finish off my cons list. It does feel like that the N has more compression at higher speeds sooner than the other P-47 variants. This is probably not verifiable. It's probably just because you get to those higher speeds sooner in the end, but it feels like I have more compression issues. I think you're going to see it right here in this clip. But that's kind of the cons, and it comes along with most of the other cons that come along with all P-47s. So here we go, 109, trying to get him to continue to dodge. I don't want to take any sort of rounds at him, so he tries to pull around. I'm going to take it in the vertical. Even with the G, I know I could probably outturn this G, but I want it in the vertical and also to be able to outturn. He seems to want to try and keep it as more of a rate fight, and then now he's like, oh, I need to take it in the vertical. He's still flying towards my guns, probably not his best strategy to be able to knock him out there. So at this point I need to decide what am I going for next. I've got 3 enemies ahead of me. He wants to try and get me there, he's not going to do it. But so I need to decide what to do next. I see the Spitfire. I also see this VB-10 down low, and I feel like if you ignore those VB-10s, that generally comes back to bite you. So I'm going to try and get this VB-10 out of the match here real quick. I see the other guys, and I see that they're heading towards me, and I'm trying to get this VB-10 out now while I've got a shot. He's super duper slow, which kind of messes with my shooting here, and there's a little bit of that rudder issue that you might have noticed right there, and there's the compression issue right there, where I'm just not really able to pull out that dive. So spraying the head on with the G14, and he eats him, and he's on fire. I'm sure he's not happy about that. So we just avoid him, let him burn. We're just gonna go up, let him burn. He makes a pretty good go of it, trying to get some rounds at me or on me, but I'm just gonna let him burn, and I think it eventually kills his engine. So he does put the fire out, but he's not a threat. So we keep going back up, get our flaps down. We need to, again, if you ignore those VB-10s, they tend to try and come back and bite you. So this time he's even more slower than he was before, and I can get my rounds on him this time. And while we're here and while we're fast, we're going to pop up that 109 G14 right there. Nice little triple strike, nice little combo, and illustrates some of the concepts that I was talking about. All right, I'm going to show you guys another clip with the Yak 3. This is how I handle Yak 3s at altitude. Basically, you push the head on super strong, try and dodge their response, but you need to be super aggressive with Yak 3s. You need to throw a hail of bullets at them. So I'm going to show you right here. You just spray so many bullets at them, make them dodge, make them blink, and then you just need to aggressively pursue them. In this case, this guy turned so good, he turned right in front of me. I've done that before in vehicles that turn really well. I don't blame him. And then I noticed this mosquito behind me. Just stay straight. They're not going to catch you. This is playing to the invariant strengths, which is inline energy retention. I picked up a lot of speed in line, and in a slight dive, this mosquito has no chance. Do make sure you dodge every now and then, but we're going to pull this mosquito away from the rest of his team so I can deal with him one-on-one. And so we think we got enough speed here. Going to throw it into a dive, twist around, make sure he can't get guns on, and then nose up, start pulling up. And he basically dives out all the way the rest of the way. He might be compressing, not sure. But when I go up, I notice that I have a friend. This 109 now has decided he wants to get involved, the Wildcat 109. And I got to tell you, don't underestimate the P-47's turn rate with flaps. If you're a 109G variant, I can outturn you with enough speed. I can do it for a little while, and that's exactly what happens here. He doesn't really have the energy to come up and attack me, so he throws it in a bit of a rate fight, which is maybe a good idea. I get some hits on his tail. But again, I have the energy, I'm using my flaps. He's just not in the right vehicle to pull this off, and he should be going up. But you can see, I catch him here, I just have more energy, and we take him out of the match. And then at this point, another 109 comes in, gives me an oil leak, and I return to the base. I mean, at this point, it's like a 7 versus 1, and that's why, ultimately, with other P-47s, this is maybe a clutch carry opportunity. With the P-47N variant, I'm just not good enough to pull it off, and I love P-47s. So just keep that in mind. Like with other P-47s, you can kind of flirt with the idea of being a mainline fighter and not a support fighter. For the N, I highly recommend bringing a friend. At the BR, the enemies are just too strong for what you're able to pull off with this regularly. I'm not saying it can't be done, but regularly carrying just isn't what the N variants are meant to do. If you want to try and carry, then you probably just need to fly the D38, which is, or D28, which is absolutely something that you could probably pull off a carry. But that's it. That's it for this video, guys. I appreciate it if you've made it this far. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, please do the whole subscribe thing. Tell a friend, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Appreciate you.